In today's show, we're going to learn about Power App's random number generator, right? Because someone asked, and I thought, what a cool way to answer. So we're going to do that. And to do that, we're going to learn about my family's tradition of playing a little bit of bingo, right? So we're going to talk about that by making the bingo caller 5000. Should be fun. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with Power Apps 911. Those guys. And today, we're going to play bingo. No, we're not going to play bingo. What we're going to do is we're going to learn about random number generation in Power Apps. And so like we've talked about doing one-offs, but the YouTube comment I got was about making a whole table of them. So we're going to do that. We're also going to make sure we don't have any duplicates or uniques. And we're going to kind of explore some different ways. Like we're going to kind of do it one way and be, oh, that button right. Then we'll do it a completely different way. Oh, that works. And then we'll kind of expound from there. So just learn some different functions like sequence and shuffle and RandBetweent and in, and I don't know, just a bunch of different ones. We're gonna have a lot of collections. So just a good Power Apps video to kind of work through a bunch of skills. And since we're building my Bingos app, you will hear all about how I was the bingo caller at our family's Thanksgiving, right? And if you win bingo at our family, you get lottery tickets. Someone at dinner actually won a $50 prize. What? I know, it was crazy. You don't care. So anyway, let's switch over to my desktop and take a look. Okay, so this is where we're going to end, right? The bingo caller 5000. Because when we started messing with random numbers, I was like, well, why is he doing it? I couldn't think of why he was doing it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to, make something up. And bingo came to mind because that was literally what I had just played when I saw the comment. So if you've never played bingo before, what happens is you usually have this great spinny wheel thing, right? That's this crazy little contraption. And so you spin through there, it kicks out a ball. And then when it kicks out a ball, then you're able to, you call it out. People have little game cards. They punch them in and they win when they cover, the lines, the cold card, whatever it might be. So as a caller, it's kind of annoying, right? You got to find these tiny little balls. And then let's face it, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So I got to stare at it. So I built this app. So my lovely little app here, you can see it's all ready to go. And so if we go over here and just press the button, I'm going to say G49 is the first number. Look, G49 is blocked out over here because that's typically what you do on a bingo board. And then over here, you're going to have the order. Call it another number, O63, N42, B14, right? So it is just working its way through. And if you get here, so see, that's 5, 6. And then just to emulate really being there, every time that we get a 7th number, I usually have to reload or respin. So listen here, what happens when I press it the 7th time. That's right, you get to hear that terrible noise. Right, when I was testing the app out, I was like, yeah, that's why you can see down the bottom left, there's a mute button here. Because after the first couple of times, you're like, I don't ever want to hear that again. But it's there. So there you go. So we can just keep calling numbers. Somebody's bingo, yay! You can make sure they have N34, because one of the rules of bingo is you have to have the last one. And then if they do, they've won, you want to reset the game, you hit reset game here. Oh, and you can see that I did not fix this. So hang on, let's fix that right now. So you can see that my little, this is on top of my pop-up. How rude. So I'll just move my pop-up to the front. There we go. Much better. And you can see, are you sure you're ready to reset the game, right? Because we don't want people hitting reset on accident. We want to make sure they did. And then you can see Buddy looking all ferocious. So if we say clear it, everything does. And we've got to make the sound again because we are spinning the balls again to get ready to play. And then we're off and playing. So there you go. So that's where we're going to bend at the end. But first, we're going to go and explore the actual question, the whole purpose of the video. So remember, there are descriptions or whatever you call this below chapters. So if you want to jump ahead, you don't want to learn, or you just want to learn, whatever, you can always jump around. Okay. Oh, and the last thing, remember, if you go to training.powerapps911.com, you can sign up for the YouTube library, and you can actually just download this whole working app. So if you just want a bingo caller, right? It's cheaper than buying the bingo thing. So to that end, let's jump down here. And so the actual question we got was this, right? So how to generate unique random 10 numbers, no repetition between say 1 to 20. And then you can see that I did a great question, right? So you should be leaving comments below because you just never know when I'm going to turn your comment into a video. So thank you for the comment. Okay, so let's jump over here and let's try the first thing that I thought of. So first thing I did is I threw a button on. I'm like, all right, well, if I want to get 10 random numbers between 1 to 20, I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say ClearCollect video 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm going to do So we know if we do sequence and sequence 10 and we hit the button, what do we get? We get literally numbers 1 through 10. So sequence makes a table of 10 numbers in this case. If you're not familiar with sequence, there's a whole video up there on it. You should check that out. We're not going to go into too much detail there. It does a lot of cool things. But here, so we know that could get us 10. We want 10, but we want random numbers, not 1 to 20. So sequence doesn't do random. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the function called AddColumns. So AddColumns takes a table, sequence 10 punts out a table, and it says for every row in that table, what do you want to do? I want to add another column, and we're going to add one for, we'll call this rando. Okay? And then what do you want in rando? So what we're going to do for rando is we're going to say, I want you to do the RandBetweent function, returns a random number between bottom and top, evenly distributed. So random between 1, 20. We do that, we do that. Now if we press the button, now if we look at Cold Video 1, we've got rando here. So the first row is 8, 9, 8, 2, 8. So it gave us random numbers, but you're probably immediately seeing it. Thankfully, right, with random numbers, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, that we have duplicates. And one of the requirements was not to have duplicates. So while this was my first answer, this was not the right answer. Okay, so then what was a better answer? Well, so we still need 10. So let's insert ourselves another button here. Oh, let's not resize the button weirdly though, Shane. And so what we want to do now is instead of getting just 10 numbers like that, I'm going to do it a little differently. So we know that if we were to do sequence to 20, this would give us a list of numbers 1 to 20, right? That's a table. And so we want to get that those numbers, but we don't want duplicates, right? So what if I take that table and I said shuffle sequence to 20? So the shuffle function takes a table of data, numbers 1 to 20 in this case, and puts them into random order. So if we did ClearCollect, and then that, oh, we gotta give it a name first, so we'll call this Cold Video 2, so I don't confuse myself. If we do, undo, third time's a charm, I promise. There we go. So we press that, now what do we get? We get Cold Video 2, 17, 11, 9, 20, 10. And if we were to scroll through here, there's not going to be any repeats because we just took a list of 1 to 20 and mixed it all up and got it back in a random order. But the comment said, I only want 10, right? That's going to give us 20 numbers. So now what we can do is we can go here outside shuffle, and there's another function we rarely use called first in. First in takes a table, the shuffled up numbers in this case, and says, hey, give me just the first 10 rows. So now if we do this and press the button, now what do we get? We get Cold Video 2, we get 10, 20, look at that. No repeats, and we only got 10 numbers. So now, there you go. YouTube video comment answered, right? Cold Video 2. So by doing this, this would give you a way to get 10 numbers that are random between 1 to 20 with no repeats. I thought of other like weird ways to do it, like just get a number and then check to see if it was already in the table. All of them were more complicated. So this was kind of the way that the shortest way that I could come up with to do this. There's probably a smarter way to do it than this, but I could come up with worse ways. I couldn't come up with a better way. And remember, so if you wanted it between, your numbers between 1 to 100, you just do the same thing, right? You just change this 20 to 100. This will give you the first 10 numbers shuffled up. So we press this and then Cold Video 2 now. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, let's just do that in a gallery. Let's make this easier to see. Vertical gallery. And we'll say, hey, gallery, I want you to use Cold Video 2. And I just want you to do title, right? Because one of the things I want you to understand is, so yes, I don't give you 10, but this time it was from 1 to 100. And then every time they press this button, you are reshuffling the deck, right? So you can continually regenerate this. So once again, I don't know what the comment is using it for. A commenter is using it for. The comment is not using it for anything. What the commenter is using it for. But this should give some different ways to apply it. Okay? So there you go. There's the answer to that. But that to me was no fun because I didn't have any like examples or any like cool things. So this is what set me off to make bingo. And bingo is just going to let us expand on the same concept. So this gave us these lovely numbers, right? Let's just make ourselves a new screen as we go into now what Shane wants to talk about. So I needed a way to get all of the numbers, right? So B, so B is 1 to 15, I is 16 to 30, you get the idea. So the first idea that I had for that, and this will totally work, is we're going to say something like this. We're going to say ClearCollect video 3. And what do we want to do there? What I said was, all right, I want sequence of 15, right? Because there's 15 numbers in each one if you're not familiar with it. And so that'll give me the 15, and then I'm going to say AddColumns sequence 15, and then I'm going to add a column called ball, and then the expression is going to be B, and then B, and then an ampersand, and then value, which is the current number, right? So if we do that, and we press the button, that should get us B1 to B15. Oh, let's just put it in a gallery, Shane. Let's quit showing them the hard way. So down here, cold video 3, change this. Okay, right, so that quickly got us B1 to B, whatever. Oh, 15. No, let's just press it again. Okay, there we go. So B1 to B15. A little bit of lag confused me for a second there. So that got us the B's, and then because I was going for just brute force, the first idea, remember, because working is always better than not working. And so an idea for the next ones, right, would have just been this. It was like add columns, copy all this. But this time it's the I column, right? And in the I column, but I should be the number, right? So sequence of 15. So you know what, we'll do it different than I did it in testing. I just go here to sequence and say 15 and start at 16, right? Because sequence has an optional parameter called start. And so then now if we press the button, we get B1 through 15, and then I16 through 30. And as you can get the idea, hopefully this is pretty obvious to you. We paste this in now, and then if we wanted to do BIN, and so then now if we do that, that'd get Bing or BIN. So then let's do G and O differently. So then to do G, the way that I did it earlier was I did something like this. I said 15, and I said ball let's see, this would be G. And then I just said, hey, take the value and add to it 45. So then that way they would all start at 45. So if we copy that, and then we go down here, and then last but not least, we have O, not 0, O and 0 are two different things, and we start at 60. So two different ways to do the same thing. The second way is actually going to probably be better. I don't know. So there you go. B15, I to 30, N to 45, G to 60, and O to 75. Perfect, right? I don't know how well this thing shows up, but you can kind of see here, like, so this is what all the different balls would look like, right? So this is the thing, right? We have to emulate all the possible balls. And so we've just done that with our code. So there you go. That gives us the collection, right? So Cold Video 3 is the 60 or 75 unique codes that you can have in there. Now you want to see a much more interesting way to do it, right? That way works. It was great, but we want a little less manual, right? That was a brute force method, and we always want it better than brute force. So what I came up for that was we're going to say we want to do ForAll, right? Remember, ForAll loops through a table. Doesn't care how you get that table. And so we're going to make a table on the fly. And we're going to say, all right, for every one of these, we're going to have a letter column. And so for the first letter, it's going to be B. And then we're going to have an addition column. And that is going to be what multiple of 15 it is. So for the first one, it is 1. All right. So I like that. So we'll close that. And then we'll do a comma. So we got to do that 5 more times. So hang on, I'll pause while I do that real quick. Okay, so it's like that. Then we close our table. So that will make us a table with 5 rows, right? And so then now we've got our 5 rows in our table for each one for 1. Now what we want to do is we're going to come in here and say for every one of those, what do we want to do? We want to collect cold video 4, because I'm super creative with names. And what do we want to do? Well, we're going to kind of build out a version of what we did before. So sequence to 15. And then what do we want to do to sequence 15? We want to add columns. And what do we want to do? We want to add a column called ball. And so what is this one going to be? It's going to be the letter. So from up here, we're going to go back up here. We're just going to say as data. So that way we know we're specifying. So we're going to go right here and say, oh, no, data like so. So data, and then we're going to do data dot letter, right? So that would get the B. And then we're going to say, all right, we want to use the value. Oh, so that ampersand, and then value, which in a case of sequence would be right 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, right? So value plus, and then we want to take 15 and multiply it by the addition there. You know what? Let's not even do the addition. Let's do it this way. Let's just do these as 0. You know what? Better way. I've been proving this as I'm making the video. 15, 30, 45, 60. There you go. And so then value plus data dot addition. So if we close that for the add columns, we close the collect, we close the ForAll. All right. So let's press this new button. And then let's insert ourselves another gallery. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say title. Oh, and then say, hey, you should be, what is it? Cold video 4, I think. Boom. Look at that. Oh, I guess we can look over here. So there they are. Oh, now they all are, oh no, wait. Why do we have, so B, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, like sometimes the cache gets me and it messes my brain. So I's, N starts at 30, N starts at 45, 46, 60, 61, 75, oh 75, the granddaddy of them all. So there, a little less brute forcey. Once again, I don't care which one of these ways you work, right? Either way, we got the ball, but that was the whole idea, was I wanted you guys to see different ways to think about how that would be created. Okay? So now you kind of understand how that works. Let's jump over here back to our actual play bingo screen and talk about what happens here. So basically when the screen becomes available, it goes ahead and it creates my collections, right? The old way or the both ways. It creates a variable called var ball number. We'll talk about why that is in a second. It clears out the called numbers. So that's the collection we're going to store what's called in. And then it updates some other variables. Okay. So the way this works is that over here on the right, on select, when you press this lightning bolt, and notice I put it up against the right and made it kind of big because as I was thinking about me having to use this, right? Sometimes you're having some adult beverages. You want it nice and easy. And you want it on the right side, so my iPad is right there by my thumb. And so when you press this button, it is going to update a variable called var ball numbers. It's going to take it and increment it by 1. So if it's currently 0, it'll become 1. And then it is going to collect cold called numbers. So this is where we're going to store what numbers have been called, which is what was showing up over here. And we're going to do that by saying, hey, set the ball to the index of cold shuffle balls. So we took, if you look back on up here, I didn't talk about that. Right here, we take the balls that we put in there, so that B1 through 75, and we shuffle them, and so that makes a collection called cold shuffled balls. So that way you can see that, look, N38, I19, B13, etc. So these are this is the order that they're going to be called, right? This was the jiggling of all the balls. We just happen to get them all out at once. But we don't want to show them all at once, right? The whole fun of bingo is going piece by piece. So what pressing this is doing is this is just grabbing the top one from the list and then storing it into a collection. And then there's this little piece we'll talk about for the sound in a second. But that's why when I press this, it goes out there and it grabbed N38. So this collection is showing cold called numbers because you want to show people what numbers have been called. This is the last number. This is one I got to say and, make my little funny dad joke, not before, but, or not after, but before, right? Those silly bingo jokes. Oh, look, Over here, then, we are just using N38. And so what this is doing, this is a collection. It's just showing Cole bingo balls. So the whole collection, B1 to B75. Now, the way that I got this to show up like this is I set the wrap count, if you look over here, to 5. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the items is Cole bingo balls sorted by the value column. So when we put the bingo balls in there, remember all the numbers B1 through B5, I kept the value column, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, etc. But so the reason I did that was all the ones would be together. So that way B1 and I16 are both 1. That's why when you look at this thing, it goes B1, I16, and 31, right? That was how I was able to get the columns to line up. Because if you look at this cute little thing again, right? See how they're very lined up, very vertically? So I wanted that same effect here with my gallery so that way somebody could look and see if they had one and it would make very, very much sense. Me again. So when I was editing, I realized I skipped something I meant to show you. So you notice that the numbers get grayed as you get called. So how does that work? Well, all that really is, if you click inside my gallery, so I'm clicking on Title 4, right? That's the label in the gallery. The color property, which is the font color, right? It just says, hey, if this item bingo ball, right? So B1 is in the collection called numbers ball, then make it white. If not, make it black. That's why N43 that's in there is currently white, right? You can see N43 because this is that collection over here. I then also did the same thing for fill. For the fill, I said if this item bingo ball in Cole numbers ball. And so if it is, then make it dim gray, if not white. So that's how I got the shading. That's how I get it to light up. So if I hit play again and I select another number, so G52, so now G52 is gray with a white font because it's now in that collection. So sorry I forgot that. Hopefully you don't mind my little quick put it back in and we'll go back to the video, right? But so now we press another one. So now I19 was the last called number. It's highlighted over here. And remember, it's not reshuffling. It's not doing anything. It's just grabbing the next one from the collection. But we didn't want to just show them all, right? You don't want to just play it. You want to have that mystery of what number's next. Oh, Dad, I really need N11. You press the thing, or N11 is not a number. N32. Oh, it was 069. And so you didn't get what you wanted. But that, right, that's the whole fun of bingo, is that randomness. So that's why we're hiding the list, even though we already know the exact order of the way the game's going to play out. Now, I've got 5, 6. So then what I wanted to do was I said, hey, if every 7 balls I want to make noise, right? So that's this. So it says, hey, if mod var ball number of 7. So mod takes a number, in this case, the var ball number, and it divides it by 7 and gets the remainder. And so it says, hey, if the remainder is 0, which would only happen if it was 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, you know, the 7s. But so every 7 balls, it'll be 0. And when that happens, we're going to take the variable var play, toggle it false to true. And hidden on the screen, I don't remember where it's at. There it is an audio control. We'll just set visible back to true. And so this one is set to start only if the variable is true and this toggle down here is true. So now that we're at 6, so when we press this, it's going to increment that variable to 7. And this is set to on, so we should get sound. Let's try it. Right, there's that terrible cranking sound. And so I just set this to invisible, right, because you don't want to see it. But then, because I wanted to mute, right, mute was like the very last feature I added before I recorded. Don't you wish you could mute me sometimes? Probably. But so if we go down here, and if we hit sound off, now if we go to 13, so we go to 14 this time, yes, the mod is going to, the variable is going to be set to true, but because this is false, true and false equals false, so we should not get sound when we press it this time. Ta-da! This toggle down here has no special code. This is just a regular toggle. It just returns true or false, and that's how we're controlling it. Cool. Resetting the game, all that button does is does a pop-up. And if you do the pop-up, you get Buddy's ferocious face. Then what you can do is you can say clear it, and that just kind of resets everything, right? It rebuilds the collection which it probably really doesn't need to do. All it really needs to do is reshuffle the balls again. So you could get rid of this ForAll if you wanted to be more efficient. And then it updates the variable back to 0. It clears out the collection of called numbers. It sets the variable for the sound effect to false true, right? What does that do? That makes the sound effect play again, and then it closes that, right? So that's why if we say clear it, then we didn't get the sound because this was off, but you notice everything's ready to go. This label here real quick, it does have a little bit of extra code on it. Its text property is it says, hey, if the index of cold shuffled balls of our ball number is, so if this gets an error basically, and why would this get an error? Because right now var ball number is 0, and so you can't do an index of 0, so it would throw an error. So if it gets an error, then just put the word ready. If not, it puts the word, right? We learned about if error a few videos ago as well, and so that's how we did it. But there you go. This is literally my new way of calling bingo so that my family can win cash and prizes at holiday events. Maybe we have a problem. I don't know. But Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, or Christmas, I don't know. Different those family gatherings, we like to just make everybody bring bingo or lottery tickets so we can play cards. So what'd you think? Interesting? Remember, you can download the whole app over at training.powerapps911.com. We also have a lot of other things over there. We're currently running a sale through the end of today, right? So I'll have to remember, right? So probably shouldn't even have said that. Oh, well, there's a sale going on today, literally, if you're watching it. So hopefully you're a subscriber and you got this today. All right, that's enough of the blah, blah, blah. So with that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day. Hey, me again. Before you go, click on the subscribe button, right? Join the list of 100,000 plus people that have subscribed already. Or if you need any help, right? Check us out at Power Apps 911. We do big projects, little projects. We do training. We do everything, and we can help you. Or if you want to see more videos, you probably do, then just click on the playlist above. Cool? Thanks, and have a great day.